Hello, this is Bill coming at you from Santa Monica, California. I'm doing much better with the introduction. I don't have to laugh so much anymore. I'm gonna smile now. I'm sorry I have to fight it back. I know I said that. I said that in one of my in one of my movies or whatever these things are called. Um, Something about happy. Um, that's one of the things I work on. I think that's what I wanted to say is somewhere in there I realized I was talking and I probably contradict myself somewhere in there, and I know I did it at least in my mind because I realized that I say somewhere in there that I never had the anger issues, and I never thought about it until I talked about it here. So that I didn't mean for it to work that way, but this is actually helping me because I was in my mind. I kept thinking I never had an anger issue because when I left Miami, I didn't. And that's what I've been working on lately. And these are the things that I don't think about. I can't add those two things up. I mean, I can. I did. But I would hope it wouldn't take that long. I mean, I'm glad when it happens. So, um, I'm glad that I hope I made it clear what I was trying to say. And now I'm going to try and remember what it was. Anger. The anger issues. I hope I covered that, but if I didn't say it, I'll say it right now. Is when I was released in Miami, I think I did, but I'll say it again. When I was released, excuse me, from Miami, um, I didn't. I. That's one of the things at the time. I'm not saying I was misdiagnosed, but and I don't think I had because I didn't. I didn't complain about the issues. The anger didn't bother me until California. So, and they did that I think that see, this is the kind of stuff I'll remember. I'll forget. I think I just remembered the sensation or feeling that I had was it was like a flash, because that's what I just had. Was it like I wanted to literally, you can see, you'll see it in there. That's what I'm describing to you is what just happened to me. Is my mind wakes up like that, and I see that memory. It's, you know how they say photographic memory? That's what I have. Only it's literally, I can see the whole, it's like a picture. And, but I can't remember it unless, like, right, I can still remember it. So that's what's weird. Like, I can go back to that exact picture to remember what it was I was talking about, because I can keep it dangling, but when I stop talking, it's gonna go away. I'll just let it go away, and then I'll try and remember what we were talking about, and I'll see what I can bring back up just to show you what happens. So let me just get a second. I'll think about something else, and it'll go away. Then I'll try and remember what we were talking about. Here, I know it'll work. I'll tell you this story, which is kind of cool, instead of watching me think about nothing. I do these so I don't get ants all over me. So I usually say, what I usually do, because there's a lot of protein, is, and I burn a lot of fat. I figured it out today. Oh, I was going to tell you that too. Between everything I have, the bike, everything I carry, everything, the whole number just changed and I'm going to explain it, so that I am now just under 2/3 of the total weight, and the total weight is 300 pounds. So I weigh just under 200 pounds now for the first time since, I want to say since I left Miami, but it might have been since I left the Florida Keys, because I was back at the hospital there for a minute too. Not the hospital, but where it doesn't matter, that's another story. Not because anything happened, how's that? And, okay, now back to whatever we were talking about. That was perfect, because I had forgotten that too, and now I know I've forgotten the other. So let me see where I can start from, and I'm only going to give it a few seconds, and then I'll get into what I wanted to talk about. Okay, that's all I'm going to give it, but I can almost remember what it is. I can't quite remember what it is. I can start to put it together in my head, and I have to draw pictures of it. That's what brings the whole picture back for me. And it's obviously, I could probably get it a lot closer, but that's about as long as it can go before I can't bring it back on my own. I'll remember it the second I see this, and I can continue it. I can do that and show you, but it's probably not worth it. But that's what happens. That's how it works for me. So to make something a habit, I'll do that real quick, and then when this hits 9 minutes, I'm going to go to Mrs. Kramer. So, what was I going to say? To make a habit, I have to do it. I've gotten it down to almost any task takes me about 7 days. The really tough ones are 10. Used to be a lot longer than that, but I've gotten it down. I consider that manageable. And but think about that. If I want to brush my teeth every day, I have to do that for 7 days now. And I've gotten that down. Okay, I'm at 9 minutes. So, Mrs. Kramer, anytime I speak of the Kramers, they are the closest and dearest memories to me of them and building that place, and it is one of my greatest accomplishments. So I will never ever speak poorly of them, and in fact, I wish I had the opportunity, and I'm sure I could have been able to see them again before either one of them had passed, but my life was a different world. It's not their fault at all. Like I said, I'm sure I could have, if I wanted to, I'm sure I could have said hi anytime. And so anyway, this particular day, I was walking up The house was, the security was not a worry, so I'd always take my tools with me, my hand tools, but anything else, I wasn't going to worry about it. And some of the stuff, people weren't worried about that stuff on that job. So a lot of stuff, we just every Friday we always kept it right for the Kramers to be able to, because they'd like to see it as it was built. It took a long time, and so it was always kept right for cleanliness. But we didn't have to worry about packing everything up every time. Job boxes were there, so trades didn't start stealing from each other. But uh, we didn't worry about the box going anywhere. And anyway, I was walking up the main driveway, and she's up at the top of the hill, and you, I mean, it's not a big, huge area to turn around is, but she's got plenty of room, and it's not, it's the house is like, at the time, I think it was the most expensive home. I know it was the most expensive home being built in Florida, and it might have been the whole country. Um, so, you know, like I said, it's not meant for landing a helicopter, but it's a plenty area. But I'm not thinking she's from New York City. And I see her doing all of these, getting turned around, and I'm doing like I am now, because I'm sure exactly how I acted, because I've never been impressed by money, and so I'm sure I'm doing exactly that, is giggling to myself right there in front of her, and she's not getting mad at me, because we had talked. She knows. I think I've already told you the story about the door, and she knows. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm not. I'm just, it, it packs some facts. So, I'm, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I can picture myself, and and she's looking at me, and she's like, "What?" And I said, "What are you doing?" Just like that. I'm sure it wasn't just like that. Here, let me try and get my face on. I'm sure I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm going downtown." I said, "This isn't New York City, you know." And she says, what did I, okay, I remember. She says, I said, "It's not New York City." She says, I hope it is New York City. I said, "Why is that?" She says, "Because I'm just going to park down there, and they can impound it, and they tow it back to me here." I said, I don't think it works like that." She says, "That's how I do it in New York." I said, "Oh," I said, "I've never thought of trying it that way." I said, I, I, I never would have thought of it. I said, "I suppose you could." I said, "But what are you going to do when you get down there?" I said, "If you think this is tight parking," what are you, what are you going to do when you get there? And she's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's all parallel parking, like they're in New York City." I said, "It's not big parking lots. It's West Palm Beach. It's parallel parking. There's some parking, but you don't know it. You don't even your house isn't even done yet. You know, you've taken a taxi from your jet to here. I mean, I know that because I've seen it, and I'm sure I said that to her." So I'm just shaking my head like you're crazy, because you don't know where you're going. You don't have a clue what you're doing. And when you get there, you're not going to even be able to park. She has a cure for it. She says, "I'm just going to leave it. They'll tow it, and I'll have it brought right to the house." something I never thought of. When you think about it, it is a perfect solution. It, it works like a charm. And I suppose, yeah, you're right. That's a good solution. But she says, so I said, okay, well, let me at least get you out of here. So I started directing her. I said, you can come back. And I mean, she could come back 20 feet, but I said, yo, and just come on back. So she gets back, and by now she's, I'm sure, thinking, you know, what he said, what I said, because she knows that's the relationship that I think I established with her right from the beginning, as I'm not gonna kid with her, When she wanted me to change the doors, I said that's not a problem, but this is how I've been told to do it. I know it's your door, but there's a chain of command here, and you're going backwards. And I didn't say it like that, but she looked at me. Most of the guys couldn't believe I said it, and I mean, it was conversation after when she was gone, and but I think she respected it, and like as I'm moving her around in the parking lot, I'm sure, at least that's what I think. She's thinking this in her head. So I get backed in, and I walk past, and I get into the front. And again, she could move 30 feet, not hit anything, but I'm gonna let her think that I'm thinking, sure, she could land her helicopter, but plenty. But I want her to know that I'm right there. She can see it, and I'll make sure. Not that it matters. I mean, she could hit anything. She owns everything there is to hit. So, so I know I get laughing at myself when I talk about this story because it's so beautiful, and she was so. It. The, I'll just tell you in the story, and you'll understand. So when she finally gets, so she's clear and can hit the driveway goes down. It's just a little decline down to the main street. There's the one street, and Worth Ave is to the right, or the quickest way I know. And so she stops. I figure, she's out of here. I'm already been turned around, headed. I'm gonna throw my tool bag in my shoulder and head in and start doing my job. She yells back. She says, "Where you going?" I said, "To work." I said, "This house has to get finished." And she says, "Come back here for a second." So I come back. She knows better. I won't accept a tip or anything like that. I know. It's just not gonna happen. And so she says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to work." She says, "You're getting in the car." I said, "No, I gotta go to work." I said, "We gotta get stuff done here." And, and she says, "No, I'm telling you, we're going downtown." She says, "You're right. It's just gonna work easier." I said, I gotta tell somebody." She says, "You're an independent contractor. I pay you." I said, "Yeah, but I still have an obligation to contract with him." And she says, "I pay him too." Get in the car. Okay. I said, "Well, let me go and put my tools in the truck." I said, at least I'm not going to leave them right here. I said, "I know nobody's going to take them." But she says, "So just throw them in the trunk." This is when I know that we're not talking run down and get the mail. This is more, not just a little joyride downtown for something quick. So I get in. I said, "Where?" She's trying to tell me how to adjust the seat, and I said, "I know." I said, "You got the same car my father has." She says, "Your dad has one of these?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Really not?" I said, "It's a nice car, but it's not. It's not what I expected you to be driving." And she says, "No, I like them." I said, "My father likes them." I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it was a nice car. And So, I knew how to get it all set for myself. And so we're driving down to Worth Ave, which I know how to get there. And we go in this store. And the scene in Pretty Woman where I forget what her name in the movie was, but Julia Roberts' character has his credit card, goes into that store he told her to go to, or I can't remember the exact scenario. It was my wife's favorite movie. Um, so I saw it many times, but I can't remember the exact scenario. But I remember she goes into this one particular store with his credit card. He's mega, mega, mega rich. I don't think as wealthy as she is, but that's the idea. And, and they don't wait on her. Well, keep in mind, I'm dressed to build her house. Again, I'm not there to impress her. I'm there to build her house. She's not dressed for the house because the house isn't finished. We are in the most expensive, I'm not going to say the store. It's the most expensive store for what we're shopping for. And she doesn't get to see the car we're driving, and even if she did, it's not the car that this woman can afford. It would not be a good indicator for this woman's wealth. How's that? It's a good indicator of a very a high level of wealth, but not this woman's wealth. And I certainly enough that you could afford to be in the store, but not to be looking at the most expensive stuff in the store. That's true. That's a very good answer right there. I've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to make this as quick as I can. And this woman, the saleswoman, misundersold, I would have to say, at the time, if not the wealthiest woman, now that I know what she was worth, if this wasn't the wealthiest woman in America at that time, she was definitely in the top 10 list. And she didn't insult her. In fact, she did quite the opposite. She undersold her so much that Mrs. Kramer was an angel. I mean, she always was. I can't speak for anybody else, and I'm not trying to. I know how she was. I know how both of them were for me. And like I said, I cherish the days that I got to be working, and they were there, that I knew I could talk to them anytime, because I enjoyed their company, and whether they enjoyed mine or not, I don't know, but they always had something nice to say. And why did I get off on that? I can't remember why I got off on that pattern. Yeah, I got a few minutes. Let me see if I can't remember where I was at. Mrs. Kramer. Oh, the woman underselling. Yeah. And Mrs. Kramer, like I said, she was so graceful. And I think, like I said before, I always try to first, I like to see the good in everything. I try and see the bad in everything, and I don't have a particular order in which I see it. I try to see both, as much of both as I can. So I break down each one of them, and then I always look for the good of it, because number one, it's just what I believe. It's called karma. And but I found that sometimes the good can have, if you don't break it down all the way, some good can have some bad in it. So if you break both sides down, I've been able to find most of all of it to get the best good out of all of it. And I know that sounds corny or whatever it is, but it's the truth for me. And now, let's see if I can remember what I was telling you that for. Might be a little over my attention span. Let me see if I can get it. Julia Roberts is in my head, so why is that there? Julia Roberts. Jamie's favorite show. I know that was in the story. Let me get there. Oh, underselling. Yep. So that's what the woman did. Is Mrs. Kramer was gonna buy whatever she wanted anyway, but and she didn't expect. Um, it's the first time I saw prejudice in a different way. I guess that's the best way to put it. And I'm grateful. It's like I say, I cherished all the moments that I had with her, but it's not every day. Again, at the time, I didn't know how much money they were worth. I mean, it's clear by the house how much they're worth, but even I didn't know at the time. And that particular day, and almost every day that I was with them, you would never ever know. Just, I'm sure they didn't. I shouldn't say that. I assumed at that time that they probably dressed like all the other billionaires, but I shouldn't. That was an assumption that I should never have made, and I'm glad I caught it as fast as I did, because that may have been the way they enjoyed life. To be perfectly honest, I could see that, and certainly in the way that they always treated me, and so I should not have. The house would definitely lend. Uh, uh, if if you ever see the pictures on the internet, you'll understand. Uh, so I can see how I got there, but I should never be that person. But anyway, yes, Mrs. Kramer. Like I said, that was a beautiful day, and I always, always, always try to learn something from everybody. But when you get rare moments like that, I I I try and soak it in.